What's up, guys? Today, me and my friend Juju are gonna be we're gonna be doing a video about how far would the Straw Hats get without Usopp.
Yeah, Eli, your intro's buns. Anyways, let's start.
Okay.
God Usopp doesn't
What the fuck?
join up with Luffy. There's no coward with a heart of gold on the Straw Hat crew. Everything up to Luffy arriving at Syrup Village is the same. They defeat Captain Kuro, but Usopp stays behind with Kaya. Luffy, Nami, and Zoro sail away with the...
So they're gonna get the Going Merry. So they're not cooked at Enies lobby. Me and Eli were debating this earlier if they would still get the Going Merry. Eli, you're wrong. They, what was it?
They still get the Usopp didn't give it, Kaya
How
did.
does the story play out from there?
Yeah, are you dumb?
Well, there is one surprising change that occurs immediately. Without Usopp, the crew never meets Sanji. Remember, it's because of Usopp and Luffy practicing with the Mary's cannons that they run into Zoro's bounty hunter friends, who tell the Straw Hats about Baratier. Without this chance encounter, they have no reason to head to the restaurant. Also, their Jolly Roger would look like this. Now, you could say that without Usopp there to goof around with, Nami and Zoro would have been able to pin Luffy down about his plan to assemble a crew. A cook would be one of the first things that comes up. However, neither Zoro, Nami, or Luffy seem to have any prior knowledge about Baratier. So, this is where our first generous pivot comes in. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked. To keep this thought experiment fun and not veer off into irresponsible fan fiction, there is one rule I will try to stick by in this video. I'm going with a very generous reinterpretation of a...
Alright. Now, if they don't have Sanji, they are screwed.
How?
I'm just gonna say that because they don't have a cook.
Okay, then Luffy
The whole
just
point of
dies.
them getting the whole point of them getting a cook was because they were, what was it? They were like starving.
All those times, Luffy would be dead.
Yes, bro. Luffy would have been dead by the time they even mentioned a cook. Alright, I'm gonna go mute real quick.
I want to try my best to realistically lay out how the narrative would unfold without Usopp. How long can the story Oda set in motion realistically continue within the same overall structure without one of the original Straw Hats? Since there are so many variables in this massive story, there will be pivotal points where things can go more than one way, and I'll continue on with the most reasonable direction that stays as close to the original story as possible. Essentially, these are where more what-if scenarios could spin out of this what if. For example, the first generous pivot is that the crew somehow hears about Baratier in their search for a cook. I don't think that's implausible, and the other option is a version of events without Usopp and Sanji that takes the Straw Hats God knows where, which is too disconnected from the original story and doesn't really jive with this exercise. So at this point, the adventure continues similarly enough. Don Krieg, Mihawk, Nami stealing the Mary, Sanji joining the crew. The big difference moving on without Usopp is that an injured Zoro couldn't chase after Nami alone, and there isn't even a hint about Arlong since the Bounty Boys wouldn't have been around. You see how tricky this is already? With this tiny dinghy and no navigator, it would be logical for the crew to head to shore. It's not like we have a detailed map of every town in One Piece, but since Arlong Park isn't too far from Baratier, it's reasonable to assume the crew eventually gets there. But first, it's likely they touch down somewhere closer. Maybe take a day for Zoro to recover from his wounds before pressing onward. Hell, maybe Zoro and Sanji chilling together on this initial journey and not immediately fighting over whether or not to kill Nami would have lowered the temperature on their tumultuous relationship. It's at this pit stop that they hear rumors about a nearby town ruled over by a ruthless fish person, which of course will capture Luffy's attention. A crew consisting just of the monster trio feels like it inevitably has to come into contact with the most powerful pirate around, especially given how close by he is. When they arrive, the specifics would be altered, but the end result and major moments of Arlong Park would remain the same. Also, the fight would go even easier than the original with a more healed Zoro.
Alright, sorry that I left for a bit. What happened?
They were just talking about, like, Arlong.
Alright, did you say anything?
Yeah.
Alright, what'd you say?
They said, I'm sorry, I don't have a detailed map of the One Piece map, and I said, fuck up, bitch. Probably should.
Alright.
Just to keep things tidy, it's reasonable to say all of this could have happened within the same time period as the original story. Luffy worked as chore boy for 2 days in the manga continuity, plus there's a good deal of travel time.
What the
Oh
fuck,
my god.
bro?
Yeah, it is the last ad I ever see because you're...
You're getting skipped.
Do whatever math you need to.
Wait, hold up, pause. It was talking about an ad blocker. I'm getting that for my next video. So we don't have to watch that.
Okay.
Right after this video, I'm getting it. Alright, Eli?
Same. I'm probably just gonna get that for fun.
Alright.
Things are just gonna be easier if we keep the timing the same, since 90% of major events in the story rely on being in the right place at the right time. You could say it's an ongoing, generous pivot for this exercise, but let's just acknowledge that there is an alternate version of events called the wrong place, wrong timeline, where nothing fun or interesting happens ever. With things back on track, the crew decides to head to the Grand Line. They make their log down, no deviations, then ride up Reverse Mountain. It's hard to imagine any aspect of Whiskey Peak changing, since Usopp is drunk and asleep most of the time. So we proceed to Little Garden, a major arc for Usopp's character that would have likely played out a lot smoother without around. When the crew arrives, Luffy, Vivi, and Karu head off together, Zoro and Sanji leave to hunt, and Nami and Usopp stay on
Juju?
the ship. Without Usopp...
Yeah.
I was thinking about something.
What?
Is Crocodile a pirate?
That's the same question as... Is Doflamingo a pirate? Or any of the warlords pirates?
Oh, I forgot he was a warlord. My bad.
Yeah.
Sanji is staying behind with Nami. One more point to Zoro and Sanji's rivalry being much lesser in the Usopp-free timeline. Sanji and Nami would still get taken to speak with Rogi, but the big change comes when Usopp abandons Nami on the way back to the ship. There's zero chance Sanji ever leaves Nami behind, and just like Usopp, he isn't on Baroque Works' radar yet. He'd actually be able to protect Nami from being captured, which means the only two people on the wax cake would be Zoro and Vivi, leaving Sanji, Nami, Karu, and Luffy to save them. Ultimately, the one key factor that's up in the air is the eternal pose to Alabasta. Since Sanji doesn't go off on his own to Mr. Three's hut, he won't encounter the Unluckies. However, the Unluckies would presumably go looking for Mr. Three. If the Straw Hats or Giants take out the Unluckies, then bingo, they get the eternal pose to Alabasta and can boogie off the island. If they don't, we branch off into a drastically different timeline, where either the Straw Hats are forced to stay on Little Garden for years, they sail off without any direction, which could mean death, or Crocodile sends forces to take them out, which actually enables their escape. For the sake of this exercise, let's say the Unluckies get taken down, and the Straw Hats are still able to leave using the Eternal Pose. For Drum Island, Usopp is so superfluous that his name doesn't even appear once in the fandom page for this arc. Vivi could hang out with Dalton on her own. Nothing major changes about the plot without Usopp. Onto Alabasta. Crocodile would still send Mr. 2 to check in on / kill Mr. 3, so the Straw Hats would still meet Precious Banchan. That scene and everything leading up to the arrival at Nanohana would go the same, except for one key difference. Captain Smoker. The only reason Smoker connects the Straw Hats to Baroque Works and Vivi is his interception of the Sanji and Crocodile call. Smoker already has a Baroque Works agent in hand at the time, so maybe he'd eventually piece this information together, but he certainly wouldn't have beaten them to Nanohana, which means Luffy's reunion with Ace would have lacked a marine chase. It's a coin flip whether or not Smoker would have figured out something was going on with Crocodile and gone to Rain Base to check it out. For the sake of simplicity, let's keep Smoker's presence in Rain Base within our primary timeline, but there's a branch where Smoker doesn't show up, which would be a major disaster.
Yo, Smoker's actually a
for
bomb.
everybody. Long story short, Robin dies underground.
Hello?
Sorry, my mic was muted. Yeah, sorry, my mic was muted. Dude, you're not in New World, right? You're still on Thriller Bark.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure New World is
Yeah.
Fishman Island.
Yeah, no. Smoker, yeah, I'm like halfway through Fishman Island.
I thought you were.
I think I
thought you were just on friggin'. What's it called?
What?
You were just on Woman Woman Island.
No, I said I went back to rewatch Enies Lobby, not Woman Island.
Oh, I
And
thought you said you were on Woman Island.
no, I already
when
told
you
you. I
showed
got
me.
past. What?
Like when you showed me.
No, yeah, I told you I got past that. Did you not? Were you not looking? I was on Fishman Island.
No, you weren't. But whatever.
Yes, I was. I I was on. I was on episode
Whatever.
520. I got past it. All right, whatever. I'll show you later, but.
Alright, I'm gonna go get something to drink. I'll be back.
This means things play out
All right.
totally the same up until the battle at Olivar. The plan to split up the Baroque Works agents would still need to go
Mom!
down.
Shut
However,
the
with
fuck
one
up!
person, the matchups would be slightly different. Zoro and Nami would still take Mr. 1 and Miss Doublefinger, Chopper and Sanji would take Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. 4, whereas Lashes would be stuck with Mr. 2 at first. I'm under the impression that Sanji and Chopper would be able to handle Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas a bit quicker, albeit less manly and dramatic than Usopp and Chopper. Sanji can get Chopper to beat up Miss Merry Christmas if that'll be a problem for him. Should just involve redirecting some explosives her way. Meanwhile, Mr. 2 would try to trick Vivi disguised as someone else this time, but he'd still lack the X under his bandage, and Vivi would be rescued by a slightly tuckered out Sanji and Chopper, putting in extra work and bringing down 3 agents between them. Despite Usopp's direct involvement in those situations, things would have worked out relatively the same. However, Nami is where things break down. Without Usopp designing the climb attack, she'd be forced to use a more standard weapon, likely a pistol and or sword. Despite this, she wouldn't sit back and do nothing while the others fought. Hell, maybe Nami would put up a better fight from the jump, since at least she knows how average weapons work. However, it's Nami's inexperience, vulnerability, and novelty gag weapon that kept Miss Doublefinger at ease, and ultimately opened up a window of opportunity for Nami's unexpected finisher. With a pistol, or sword, or massive axe, Nami loses her fight. She gets riddled with spikes and suffers serious injuries. Should she die? Probably. But this is One Piece, and even in an alternate timeline, it's hard to imagine anyone dying from any injury, ever. Luckily, the Straw Hats happen to have a magic...
Yeah, I always wondered how that worked. How do you just, like, know the Straw Hats die? Kind of annoying. Well, it's not annoying, it's just weird.
Right here, Doctor. So Nami would eventually be fine, but that takes both Nami and Chopper off the board for the rest of the battle. Vivi's confrontation with Crocodile and subsequent rescue by Luffy all go unchanged. Instead of reuniting as the whole crew, it's just Sanji and Zoro who meet up with them. Luffy still goes to handle Crocodile on his own, leaving the remaining 3 to find the bomb. However, with Miss Doublefinger still on the loose, she would ultimately confront them, only to learn about the bomb herself. Now knowing her superior had no problem with
Hello?
her comrades die,
I'm back.
she'd agree to help for
Okay.
her own purposes. Ultimately, with her assistance, Sanji and Zoro would be able to launch Vivi up the clock tower to stop the bomb in time. When they think all hope is lost, just before Pell arrives, Miss Doublefinger would book it right
Doublefinger.
Really?
Pause.
Basta plays out just...
Why?
Miss Doublefinger.
Yeah, what about it?
Miss Doublefinger.
just as it did. Nami suffered far more, but that would strengthen her resolve for future conflicts. Robin still joins the crew, and there's no reason any events on Jaya or the Sky Island play out much differently if Usopp wasn't around. The ordeal of Balls would have been about the same, and after that, he's unconscious pretty much until the end. Alongside Sanji too, so it's not like that...
Oh yeah, I just want to say, why'd they make Enel so OP?
Oh yes, he had hockey, bro. He had observation hockey.
Yes, bro. Like I'm like right after, like that was near the start too. Like
he was pre
right
time
after
skip
Alabama.
Kaido.
Yes, bro.
Usopp's most useful feat is providing the grapple hook to travel up the arc maximum and save Nami. However, Nami's able to dodge Eneru's attacks fairly easily when Usopp is there. Really, all he does is buy her time to get to the waiver, but then she gets held up trying to rescue him, So it's a wash. Based on my reading of the scene, it's reasonable to assume Nami could have escaped that situation on her own, even without her climateact, especially if she had this newfound resilience following Alabasta. The one thing that does change without Usopp is that Sanji...
Without Usopp, who do you think's the weakest on the
Nor
crew?
does he sabotage the arc Max.
Without Usopp,
Probably Nami.
oh yeah. Yeah, but then again, she's like harnessing the power of Zeus current times.
But he has a devil fruit though. Chopper's second place weakest. He has a devil fruit though.
Yeah, and plus he took down a CP9 agent,
Yeah.
so like most people couldn't.
Nami
I'd
also
skip
did.
ahead.
Nami did also.
Oh yeah.
But Nami's was way weaker, bro.
Drag and drop freedom. We'll see about that.
Eneru just, however, that
Oh, my thing just skipped like 10 seconds.
It's fine, bro. It's
Yeah, no,
10
but
seconds.
this dude. No, still, I just wanted to. But what was it?
Okay.
Nor does he sabotage the arc Maxim. However, that ultimately doesn't affect anything anyway. Eneru just views it as a minor annoyance, saying that all the jet dials he has makes the problem irrelevant. So, nothing major about the Sky Island saga changes without Usopp. Which of course brings us to Long Ring Long Land. Again, I hate to keep saying this, but Usopp's presence doesn't matter to this arc either. Swap him out with anyone for the first game, and they'll still lose since Foxy cheats. For the rest of the Davy Back fight, Usopp has no role. Although, Luffy may not have sported that godly afro, and that...
Oh yeah, I completely forgot this entire part.
Oh yeah, the thing is, this was right before Water 7.
Yeah. But I completely forgot this entire part.
Yeah.
would be a war crime. Even when LPG shows up, Usopp participates in protecting Robin from being shattered, but a generous reimagining of these events would just place Nami or Chopper in his stead. Water 7 is where things really begin to diverge. First up, the gold. If it's just Nami and Luffy heading into town, they'd go to meet Iceberg first, which was Nami's original plan, before Usopp changed her mind. So, not only do the Straw Hats not lose their money, but it's also likely they never have
Shut
a
the
serious conflict
fuck
with
up!
Frankie's family. If Luffy and Nami talk to the shipwrights first, they'd either take the gold to exchange it themselves, or would arrange protection for the Straw Hats during the exchange. At the very least, they'd give them a heads up. Although the Frankie family would still make their failed attempt to attack Zoro
Shut
and
up,
Mary,
bitch!
that's the last
Oh, it
we'll
must
see
have
of
been
them
the
for
wind.
some time. Which means there's no dramatic showdown at the Frankie family house. Frankie wouldn't have any reason to seek revenge on the Straw Hats. Critically, he wouldn't order his special lumber with their stolen money. By default, the fantastic Luffy versus Usopp duel doesn't happen. Luffy and Nami would simply return to the crew with sad news about the Mary, and would get caught up in the CP9 and Robin conspiracy all the same. From here, the arc is essentially a condensed Water 7, just focusing on the Mary and Robin. Usopp and Frankie are so central to this arc in my mind, but they are off in their own pockets, with little impact on the overall plot. By the end, Frankie would still be captured by CP9 and brought aboard the sea train, where he'd be rescued by Sanji in exchange for...
Dude,
Yes?
hold up, I'm trying to remember. Dude, I feel like the way to buff Usopp, give him a new weapon that's like a mix of like a gun, like a pistol mixed with his like slingshot. So like he would have to pull back. I don't know how to explain it, but it would be like a pistol, but it shoots out his like special attacks.
Hold on, let me look something up. What?
Because the only reason why
Oh, he has observation hockey. Oh, you want to know what would make him more overpowered?
what?
If he had
Armament
armament
hockey.
hockey, because then he could put it on his bullets. Or like what he shoots.
Oh my god. Dude, you know what? They need to. You know what? Okay, so to buff Usopp, I would just to get him up with the crew to buff all the 3 weaklings. So I'd give Chopper. What was it? So to make this part of the story, he's messing around with medicine. He finds a new Rumble Ball and unlocks a new form. And that form just makes him like, what was it? Like old Sanji, kind of.
Or it could just make him like if he ate that one special one, it would turn him into Monster Point. Like when he gets really big.
Yeah. Yeah, it would just make him and no, it ooh. If what was it? If what was it? Trying to remember. If Chopper got what was it? Armament hockey. That'd be pretty good.
Who?
Okay. Chopper.
Oh, that would be good. I don't even think he has
Yeah.
hockey.
Yeah, if he got hockey, but armament hockey, and then put it on his like antlers, and then just rushed into someone. Yeah.
The pair would fight their way up to Robin without the baggage of any prior conflict. Unfortunately, even Soga King wouldn't show up at this point, since he's Usopp's friend.
He doesn't have hockey.
Why would he show up? Without Soga King and Usopp's involvement, Enies Lobby becomes a trickier beast than it already was. Lacking the deep connection to Dory and Brogy, there's no convincing the giants guarding Enies Lobby to defect, which will keep the Frankie family and Gali La crews busier during the invasion. And of course, there isn't the dramatic burning of the world government flag, but, you know, the flag wasn't what put them on the government shit list. Now, we come to the Straw Hat showdowns with CP9. If anything, not having Soga King around would have evened out the matchups. There's no reason to assume any of these play out differently. Soga King won't handcuff himself to Zoro after he crashes through the ceiling with Kaku. It's hard to imagine this even being a problem for Zoro, since Kaku and Jabra seem to be of the Dragon Ball mindset of not allowing anyone to interfere in their fight. Eventually, Jabra does want to wrap things up, but by that point, Sanji shows up to take him on. Even the Nami fight, which would be severely changed due to her never having a climate attack, would still go down in a fairly similar way, because Nami would have been collecting and tinkering with dials from Sky Island. Her character development is different in this timeline, plus she is intelligent enough to recognize an unconventional tool and capitalize on it. I'm not sure how she'd do it specifically, but I have faith that she'd overcome Kefla and redeem her combat failure in Alabasta. Afterwards, the next major plot point involving Soga King is sniping Spandam and shooting over the keys to honestly,
Juju?
not that important. Frankie shows up to snatch Robin from Spandam.
Yeah.
So
You know how Robin, he like grabbed Spandam with her devil fruit powers and literally snapped his spine in half?
Yeah.
Why can't you just do that with all of the enemies? Like just start breaking each one of their bones. Or just like strangle them.
Who was Frankie going up against? I feel like that dude. You wouldn't be able to.
Oh, the guy that Frankie goes against in Enies Lobby?
Yeah.
He does not have a neck, bro. He is like the most chopped character.
Exactly. You just be like strangling a ball.
There's no strangling. You're just playing basketball.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take long
Yeah.
for to reunite with them, and they unlock Robin's cuffs. No, the real defining moment of Usopp's role in Enies Lobby comes during Luffy's fight with Rob Lucci. Straight up, Luffy doesn't win without Usopp here. Let's not get things twisted. The Straw Hats may have made it this far without Usopp, but that doesn't mean something wasn't missing from the crew. Usopp and Luffy have a special friendship, and that moment where Usopp berates and guilts Luffy into getting up and finishing the fight could have only been delivered by him. Wasn't able to move, Sanji disappeared, and the rest were busy fighting. It's Usopp who realizes Luffy went down. It's Usopp who distracts Lucci. It's Usopp who takes advantage of his own weakness to motivate his team to protect him. Now, is it possible that Luffy could have gotten the will to keep going on his own? Maybe, but he was down, fully at the mercy of Lucci. Usopp represented the physical embodiment of the crew Luffy was
Yeah,
fighting.
Lucci probably could have ended the entire series if he
Presence
really
here
wanted
was
to.
invaluable to Luffy's motivation to get up
Yeah. Oh wait, the video's almost over. Wow.
and finish the fight. Ultimately, without Usopp, the Straw Hat's journey ends right here. And I think that's the perfect place, don't you? I mean,
Probably.
let's say Luffy did through this. Does the Mary possess a strong enough connection with an Usoppless crew that she would become sentient? I don't know. Maybe. Then when the crew gets to Thriller Bark, forget about it. They'll be toasted by Corona's powers without Usopp around anyway. Plus, the Straw Hats wouldn't get the Thousand Sunny without Frankie's purchase of that special wood, and it's far more dubious Frankie even joins the crew without his relationship to Usopp. So, even if this isn't the exact moment you think the crew would get toasted, it's definitely around this time that things become completely different. Let me know what you think. Was I too generous with my interpretation of events? Do you think the crew would last longer without Usopp? Did I completely miss a
Alright,
major
I'm
detail?
gonna do my
All right.
outro now.
Yeah, same. All right. Almost at 50 subs. Let's do it, guys. Also, sub to Eli's channel. I'll put it in the title and in the description. Bye. See you later.
Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Be sure to subscribe because we're almost at 50 subs. Also, sub to Juju's channel. I'll put a link in the description. Bye.